Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. So before we get started, make sure to hit the like button, also subscribe to my channel. Today, we will talk about top 10 scariest movies of all time. So make sure to watch the full video. Horror movies have always been subjective. What one person finds scary, another might find silly. How then can we ever determine what the scariest horror movie ever made is? One way to go about it is to have a poll consisting of a plethora of horror films and allow audiences to pick their favorites. From demonic possession to insane killers, here are what Rotten Tomatoes users chose as the 10 scariest horror movies ever made. 10. Oculus. Filmmaker Mike Flanagan may have transitioned to TV with great series like Midnight Mass, but his films, especially the earlier ones, remain wonderful. Following his creepy short film Oculus, Chapter 3, The Man with a Plan, Oculus documents a brother and sister's attempts to scientifically understand an antique mirror they think is responsible for the horrible tragedies of their youth. 9. Insidious, 2010. James Wan has already appeared higher on this list, but before he and Patrick Wilson made The Conjuring, they worked together on this supernatural thriller about a young boy who falls into a coma and begins to channel a malevolent spirit. The bare bones of the story weren't the most groundbreaking, but frequent Wan collaborator Leigh Whannell infused it with a compelling enough mythology that it spawned 4 more installments. 8. Sinister, 2012. For those who didn't read the scientific study mentioned at the top, we've finally come to the film it crowned the scariest. Before he joined the MCU with 2016's Doctor Strange, director Scott Derrickson had racked up a few horror films, a couple of which earned cult followings. One of them was this small-scale haunted house/possession story about a true crime writer, Ethan Hawke, who moves his wife and kids into a house where a family was murdered, only to discover the new place might already have a rather evil tenant. 7. Halloween, 1978. Coming in at the 7th spot on our list is the film that introduced the world to all-time scream queen Jamie Lee Curtis and put John Carpenter on the map. Halloween is frequently cited as one of the earliest examples of the slasher genre as we know it today. And while it may not feature the same kind of realistic gore we've come to expect of films in that category, it packs a lot of tension and some inventive thrills in a relatively small-scale package. 6. The Ring, 2002. It's always a tricky proposition to take something that works well for one culture and try to translate that formula successfully for another. But Gore Verbinski managed that with The Ring, a remake of Japanese director Hideo Nakata's acclaimed thriller about a cursed videotape. Verbinski's take kept the original film's striking visual imagery, the ghost of a young girl in a white dress with long black hair covering her face, and found that it scared the hell out of audiences no matter where they were from. While the film wasn't as well regarded as its predecessor, it features a committed performance from a then up-and-coming Naomi Watts, and for many, it served as an introduction to East Asian horror cinema. 5. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 1974. While the top 4 movies on this list collectively garnered 42% of the total votes counted, they were followed by 6 films that all earned around 3% of the vote each. In other words, these last 6 films were separated by no more than 60 votes. The first of them is this low-budget slasher directed and co-written by Tobe Hooper, very loosely inspired by the crimes of Ed Gein. Texas Chainsaw's grimy aesthetic helped lend it an air of authenticity, which made it all the more frightening. This could actually happen, you guys, and the massive. 4. The Shining, 1980. Literally, dozens of Stephen King's novels and stories have been adapted for the big screen, and several of those films are considered classics today, like Carrie, Misery, and Pet Sematary. And that doesn't even account for non-horror stuff like The Shawshank Redemption and Stand By Me. But the mother of them all is easily Stanley Kubrick's adaptation of The Shining, a marvel of set and production design and a genuinely unnerving take on the traditional haunted house story. The Shining features a host of memorable images and an iconic Jack Nicholson performance. 3. The Conjuring, 2013. James Wan has staked out a place among the modern masters of horror, directing films like Saw, Dead Silence, Insidious, and this inspired by true events chiller based on the experiences of real-life paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren. The Warrens, best known for their work on the strange case that inspired the Amityville horror movies, which played a part in The Conjuring 2, were portrayed by Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga. 2. Hereditary, 2018. Writer-director Ari Aster made a huge splash with his feature directorial debut, a dark family drama about the nature of grief couched within a supernatural horror film. Toni Collette earned a spot in the pantheon of great Oscar snubs with her slowly ratcheted up to 11 performance as bedeviled Mother Annie, but the movie's biggest shock came courtesy of, well, we won't spoil that here. Suffice it to say, Hereditary struck such a nerve with moviegoers that it instantly turned Aster into a director to watch and shot up to second place on our list. 1. The Exorcist, 1973. You may not agree that The Exorcist is the scariest movie ever, but it probably also isn't much of a surprise to see it at the top of our list, with a whopping 19% of all the votes cast. William Friedkin's adaptation of the eponymous novel about a demon-possessed child and the attempts to banish said demon became the highest-grossing R-rated horror film ever and the first to be nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars. It earned 9 other nominations and took home 2 trophies. But outside of its critical and commercial bona fides, the film is well known for the mass hysteria it inspired across the country. From protests over its controversial subject matter to widespread reports of nausea and fainting in the audience. What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comments section below. Also, subscribe to our channel before you go. Thanks for watching.